Welcome to this video on engaging with the literature from the Department of Engineering Library, University of Cambridge. As well as this video, slides and a transcript are available. So, you have found a range of information, and your task now is to read and engage with it in a critical, thoughtful way. This video will help you uncover a range of reading strategies to engage with material you have found, as well as demonstrate ways for recording what you have found and how it relates to the research you are undertaking. Reading is not a passive activity. You can question, examine, and evaluate the author's argument, methodology, and results. This is a skill that's useful for your dissertation and the world at large. Pre-reading is the first step. It gives you a sense of structure and focus. You may have already done this at the searching stage. Questions to ask include: what can you learn from looking at the author or the source? What kind of text is it? Is it clear what the author is trying to tell you? Business and academic texts are different, and this will affect the sort of questions you will be asking and the sort of evidence you will be looking for. Academic texts are structured in a set way, and you can use this structure to quickly find out more information. Start with the abstract. A well-written abstract should tell you what the paper is about, what the author's point of view is, and why theirs is a unique contribution to the literature. Then go to the conclusion. While you should always make sure you read through the arguments of any paper before you cite it as a source, reading the conclusion first will help you decide whether it fits in with your own arguments and your own research. Then look at the figures and graphs. You may be able to get a good sense of the data used and the arguments made just by looking at the figures in a paper. If the data doesn't seem relevant to your topic, you don't need to read any deeper. Then look at headings and first lines. Often academic writing is so structured that the first lines of sections or paragraphs will tell you exactly what the rest of the paragraph is about, so you can get a quick outline of the argument by only reading the first lines. Once you have concluded that a text is worth spending more time on, so that you can effectively understand and cite it, you will need to engage more deeply with it. Strategies to help you critically engage are: keep the main points of the paper in mind as you read. Use symbols for different lines of argument and connect the dots. Instead of highlighting, write notes in your own words. You will remember it better that way. Contextualise what you are reading with other texts. Where does it fit in the overall literature? How did it develop in the field? What has it done? Who do they cite and who cites them? With academic and business literature, there is usually a chain of argument. What kinds of things are you looking for at each stage? With the aims, you're looking to see if they're reasonable, verifiable, falsifiable even. For the method, does it fit with the aims? Are any deviations explained and justified? Is it a reasonable sample size, etc.? For the evidence, are the results clear, reproducible? Is the data available? And does it make sense in terms of scale and confidence levels? Analysis. Has internal and external validity been considered? Are biases clearly stated? Is it evidence-based? And the conclusion. Are the research aims addressed? Does the evidence fit the hypothesis? Are problems highlighted? And is further research suggested? A useful tool for building up knowledge of methodologies is Sage Research Methods. With access to articles and reference books about methodology and experimental design, etc., it's a great reference resource for understanding different methodologies and theories. Different methodologies are appropriate for different disciplines or types of research. There is no right or wrong methodology, but they all have strengths and weaknesses. Look for the strengths and weaknesses in the method shown of the articles you read. Does the text directly address the limitations of research design? Does the author justify why the methodology they have chosen is appropriate for the research question they're investigating? You are not writing a literature review to list how many books and articles you've read. It's a chance to engage with your subject. You can compare ideas in your articles. You can show how the sources are relevant to your own research. You think of it as a conversation between you and other researchers. You're building an argument, not a library. This argument is based on the evidence that you gather and present for your literature review. By being aware of and presenting what's been done before, you can better justify and defend the decisions you've made throughout your research. Otherwise, you're just listing what you've read, and that's not a literature review. Taking notes is a great way to engage more actively with texts. It will also help you keep on track. Some ways you can do this is writing in the margins, summing up, and mind mapping. Find a way that works for you. Here are some of the notes that you can capture while you're reading. As you progress with your research, you may find more. We'd be interested to hear about them. So far, we have looked at critically engaging with the material you have found and taking good notes. To use the material in your work, you need to cite and reference. While you bring your own knowledge and experience to your research, the building blocks of your literature review are the material you've found. If in doubt, cite it. There are a variety of ways to incorporate references into your work. You can quote, especially if the wording is so memorable or powerful, or expresses a point so perfectly that you cannot change it without weakening the meaning, but use it sparingly. You can paraphrase passages where the details, but not the exact words, are important to your point. And you can summarise long passages where the main point is important to the point you are making, but not the details. In this example of a paraphrase, you can see the difference between the original text and the paraphrase. The writer has captured the ideas of the original work without copying what is said. They have also reordered the ideas so that they can move on to talk about Newton's law of motion in more detail. Your text needs to synthesise the literature in support of your own argument. It should not be a pathwork of quotations, paraphrases and summaries from other people. Use your voice as the author to show how the sources confirm, oppose one another and you. How the reference is actually laid out and what information you need to include depends on your referencing style. Your program lead will advise you which style to use. Cite them right can help you format your references correctly. Reference managers are tools to help you capture and keep track of what you found, as well as generate and format citations and reference lists. If you're not already using a reference manager, we highly recommend setting one up. If you have any questions after this video, please do look at the LibGuides for subject collections and study skill support. You can also contact the Engineering Library team with your queries. In summary, during this video I have shown you how pre-reading and structural reading can help you manage your reading. I have discussed how critical reading and good note-taking is important for engaging with the material you have found. I have introduced referencing and citation and how this can support your academic voice when used well. Thank you and good luck with your reading and referencing.